All right. Ladies and gents, we're back at it again. Today on this workout, we're training hamstrings and hip abductors, the outer glutes, outer hips. As you can see, when I start off, always want to make sure you get your whatever exercise equipment you're using, get it set properly for you. You want to find that optimal position that allows you to get the best contraction for your muscle group. And that takes some trial and error and playing with the positioning of the pads at the hip, pads at the ankle. So as you can see, we're starting off first on a simple set of kneeling. We're not technically kneeling. Single leg curls. In most gyms, the same pad or the same equipment will have a knee pad for the opposite knee. But this one doesn't. So no worries. I still call it a kneeling leg curl just out of habit. So there is a difference between the kneeling leg curl, seated leg curl, and a lying leg curl. Each one brings about a different type of stimulation for the muscle. Whenever you put your body in a different position, regardless of if it's the same muscle group or not, your muscles fire differently. And in targeting your body from these multiple angles, you allow your body to get a fuller, more complete development to the muscle fibers, and that allows you to get that better, fuller look to your physique in general. So now, on this first set, I start off with a drop set. Very seldom do I ever do that, but on this morning it just felt right. Sometimes I'll do it once in a blue moon if I feel as though if I kept that set going, I'll get more of that wake-up blood flow that I'm looking for on my exercise versus just waiting to the second set. So, drop the weight, keep the form, and get that contraction. Remember, I'm really big on getting maximum blood flow as much as possible on each muscle group that I'm training while I'm training it. And I like starting off on an isolation movement like this on the kneeling leg curls before I move into my compound moves like my stiff leg deadlifts. Now I'm not sure if you watch my back training that I've already put up. I don't do deadlifts. Traditional deadlifts, as people refer to them, or as most people do them, even for bodybuilders, that's what most people do. I won't say I've never been a fan of them. I never did them religiously, and I never actually did them as a part of a workout routine. I've always known of them, but when I didn't train legs seriously when I first started, so I didn't train, I guess, the right way per se, you could say. But I've never been the biggest fan of deadlifts. I feel as though they involve too much of my legs, my quads, versus my lower back. However, on my stiff leg deadlifts, my lower back can get tapped. I like using a deep range of motion, as you'll see after we finish here on the curls. And especially on my heaviest sets, my hams, glutes, and lower back are all engaged fully. And that's one thing I've used to really help thicken up my lower back, along with the traditional back extensions as well. But here, second set, same thing. I continue the same tempo and the same rhythm as I did in my first one, where I had the drop set. So my rep range here is about 10 before I drop the weight. And the drop is anywhere between 10 to 30 pounds based on how I feel and what weight I need the contraction, or what weight I feel will give me the best contraction. Now, anybody knows when you use the gym, any gym often enough, you get a feel and a sixth sense for the machine and how much weight you should be using relative to where you are at that moment in time. My numbers do change slightly when I'm training early morning versus the evening. This here is a workout I started at 5:15 in the morning. So now 5:15 a.m. feels much different than 12:30 p.m. or 5:30 p.m. So I'm also mindful of that and how awake my body actually is. And sometimes I'll do a more in-depth warm-up because of that reason. And so here's second set, second part of the drop set. Just squeezing, moving, getting that blood flowing. On this day, I'm not too overly concerned about my tempo. I'm not trying to get too crazy on the negative or a pause at the top, but I'm just want to make sure it feels good. As you can see, after each set, grab the journal, write down, and document. Documentation beats conversation. What you put down, what gets measured gets managed, is a statement I learned a long time ago. If you're measuring your numbers, if you're tracking your numbers, you're able to manage your numbers. If you're going by how you feel can be very deceptive from time to time. And you can actually, in most scenarios, most people cheat themselves out of their gains because they're not being mindful of making sure they're pushing the muscles beyond their body's comfort zone. So now here we got a little close-up view of the work on my face. Trying to squeeze each one. This is the heaviest set here. This is why I try to get, when I get heavier with weight, I try to become more controlled with that same weight as well. Because the weight is a tool. And if your goal is just to move weight, then that's not the optimal goal for really trying to sculpt your physique. So you want to be craftful with it. You want to do this like you know what you're doing. You want it to do it as if every rep is your last rep. So you want to make each one matter. Make sure your mind is connecting with the muscle group you are training. I know I say that often and I sound like a broken record, but it's very, very, very true. There are simple things you need to do when you get into the gym. Number one, have an assignment for what you're going to do. Number two, execute the assignment with as high level of effectiveness and efficiency as possible. That's it. No time. It's not time to socialize. It's not time to chop it up. It's not time to text. It's not time to be on your phone. It's time to work. Put in the work. Go home. Simple enough. So here we're finishing out this last set, and then we're going to get to one of my favorite exercises. And I'll announce that after we finish with this last set. We're in the last coming reps of this set here. And it was good. The blood flow was really, really good. In my journal, I even noted how much quality I got. I'm only doing 3 sets. Well, technically, you can call it 6 sets because of the drop sets. But I look at it as 3 individual sets. But it felt good. And if it feels good, it feels good. No complaints. Who doesn't like a good set? Now, every set's not always going to be perfect. You see I have a little more rock now. Now it's more about just trying to finish the muscle out. Sometimes you try to muscle it up. You want to hit your goal number. It happens, but let it happen only to a degree. Don't let it compromise your overall form and technique of everything you do. So now, that favorite exercise I was talking about before is my stiff leg deadlifts. I remember the first time I did these, I was in college. I didn't know what the heck they were. All I remember was the next day, I couldn't get out of bed because my back was on fire. My lower back had never felt that type of stimulation. My erectors never felt that type of engagement before. I remember walking thinking I had hurt myself, but I knew it was a good feeling because I've been working for a while. But anyway, let's get back to the workout. Stiff leg deadlift, your back has a natural arch to it. You want to keep and sustain that arch throughout the range of motion. Drop your hips back as you descend and really focus on feeling a hamstring stretch as you're going downwards. And as you come back up, you want to drive your heels into the ground and pull with your hamstrings. I actually like to drive my hips forward slightly, squeeze my hips, squeeze my glutes to really enforce and reinforce my body's recruitment of my hamstrings and glutes in the motion and to minimize how much my lower back is doing the work at this moment in time. Again, find your rhythm. Get a deep stretch, get a good squeeze on each one. That negative is very important. I guess the thing when it came to deadlifts, for me personally, was deadlifts tend to be very positive focused in regards to what you do, just trying to lift the weight and then let it drop back down. Me, I'm a negative minded individual. Negatives are very, very big to me. Negatives have been, I guess you could say, a key to my success in building my physique, especially when you train by yourself. Me focusing on my negatives gave me so much more development over time because I really allowed the muscle to get torn down in a controlled manner. I'm not knocking deadlifts. It's just, again, it's just not something that I do. You'll never see a training video. I won't say never. There may be some years down the line that I may incorporate them, and that may be what my body requires at that time to get to the next level of development. But by now, it's been a good 15, 17 plus years of training, and I've never had deadlifts as a part of my workout program or regime. And I doubt I'll start anytime soon, but hey, I never rule anything out. I never say never anymore because I never thought I'd compete either. So here we go. Set number 2. First set was 135. Second set we're going 225. For me, this is the heaviest I train, meaning exercise-wise, with this straight-up raw weight. And it just feels good. I guess that's the same feeling you may get doing traditional deadlifts when you start going over, especially when you go over 400 pounds and 500 and so on and so forth. But today I won't go over 4. I think I stopped out I tap out around 365 today, and again, it's all about the feel. Five something in the morning. That 365 feels like 405. To be honest with you, but again, keep your form tight. Regardless of how heavy you go, you got to feel the muscle. That's your job, to feel the muscle. Feel, engage, stretch, squeeze. I say it over and over again, but you want to make sure every time you come up to the top, to reset my mind, you can see I have a slight pause at the top of each rep. And then I get back into it. Stiff legs are one of the most taxing exercises for me personally, just because they require a lot more focus. You want to make sure that each piece of your body, your lower back, your hips, even your calves, your grip. Actually, this is the only exercise that I use straps for anymore. Just because my grips tap out. I could have used straps. I would have started using straps at 315. I don't like using the over-under grip. It feels cement. I feel like I'm sounding just complaining, but I just don't like doing it. I never have, and therefore I don't. So I opt to use straps when I do my stiff leg deadlifts, and I leave it at that. So here we're up to 315. Again, you want to challenge the muscles. Control. As you can see, really controlled negative. Come up and squeeze. After each rep, really get a feel and go for it. Stretch, squeeze, stretch, squeeze, stretch, squeeze. Broken record, I know, but it really is just that simple. Keep your form, learn your form, keep your form, and let the body do the rest. So here I'm going to squeeze out a strong 10 reps. And at this point in time, I'm starting to feel my lower back more and more. I don't use a belt. I never have trained with a belt. My thing was, if I can't do it without a belt, I shouldn't be doing it. I'm sure that some people may say that's kind of reckless, but I've literally been. I'll progress. I'd rather progress extremely slowly in my weight progression versus move at a faster rate with a belt. I don't know. It's just me. So the only, additional add-on that I add to my workouts outside of my headphones and my music are these straps when I'm doing stiff leg deadlifts. So now here is set number 4. We're going to hit that 365. We're going for it. Feeling good. Main thing is just to get focused. Get your mind in the zone. And just do the work. I was talking to my nephew recently. And working out with me. Training legs, quads in particular. And the main thing was, hey, the work is the work. As you can see, I have no workout partner. There's nobody here. There's nobody coaching me on. There's nobody egging me on. You just got to make up in your mind that this is something you're going to do. Put a plan of action and do it. It really is just that simple. Now, simple doesn't mean that it's easy. Look at that good set. Look at that. Get it. I'm getting excited watching it right here. Over here doing this voiceover for y'all. Makes me want to go back and work out right now. Yeah, I'm a gym rat through and through. Work it. But as I was saying, the work is the work. And intense or not, if you don't do the work, only person who misses out is you. Plain and simple. Nobody else is upset that you didn't do the work. Nobody else is missing out because you didn't do the work. Only you are. So here, I hit that set, and I'm going for another set of the same. Just because I feel as I had a little more in the tank still, but not enough to do a continuation set as I had before. So I recouped, give myself about 1.5 to 2 minutes, and then back at it again. Going for another solid 3 is the goal here. Stretch. There you go. I normally gauge the quality of the rep by how deep I can get. On that one there, if you looked, or if you rewind and look, I didn't get, I want to get really as close to the ground as possible than I normally do. I mean, as close to it as possible without actually resting out. And I want to come to a complete stop and then bring it back up. So here, so that set was okay, but it wasn't my best set. In my notebook, I actually put DNO, meaning did not own, meaning I had more to give. I didn't own the set just yet. So the goal is to progress the weight. To progress the quality of my rep the next time I do that same exercise at that weight. So now for the last set, strip the weight back down to 225, just to finish the muscles out. At this point in time, my lower back is really on fire. My hams and glutes, everything's really engaged. Normally by this point, my hamstrings kind of numb up on me, to be honest with you. I don't really feel that much, to a degree. Hence the reason why I dropped the weight, so I can really kind of tap back in more. And just really finish it out. Whatever else the muscles have left, controlled negative is just tap them out, stretch it down, pull up and squeeze. Make them bad boys work. Strong set, 10 reps, and we're going to my last exercise for this day, which is going to be seated hip abduction. Straps come off, of course. No longer need them, because the work here is done. Hardest thing after this is taking the weight off. Don't feel like it. So here, we're on the seated hip abductors. Focus on those outer glutes. When I'm doing this exercise in particular, since I compete, I'm oftentimes thinking about my reverse double bicep pose. Not so much my upper body, but my lower body. When I bring my knees out, I want to be able to really feel and engage my hips and feel their presence and know that they're contracted in the way in which I want them to be, to really highlight my physique when I'm stepping on stage. So this one here, let me start out with a higher rep range. What I did here, matter of fact, was I was going for sets of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sets of 50. I don't know what I was thinking. But basically, I did 10 reps. I'll pause for 2 count for those first 10. And then I'll do 10 reps straight through. And then do another 10 reps, pausing for 2 seconds. Another 10 reps straight through. And I repeat that 2 more times, the same sequence. And here's a 10, just pumping it. So it's not a crazy heavy weight, but it's very purposeful at the same time. But so go ahead, you do your 50. Even with a lightweight, that 50 starts to feel real heavy. Here I'm back into my second pause, pausing. Really trying to engage and squeeze the hamstrings. Squeeze the glutes. Squeeze those abductors and really make them fire. This thing burns. Burns. But it's worth it. Again, because the goal is as I go about leaning out, I'm not in a lean out time period at this moment in time, but when my next time period comes to really, really lean out, I want all the detail to be seen. I want that muscle that is uncovered as my body fat decreases to really, really, really show as much detail as possible. As you can see, we're here in our third pauses. My range is getting a little bit shorter. I'm not able to get out as far, but that's okay. I don't need to be perfect, but I need to be purposeful and progressive. So let's keep going for it. Here we go. Count down myself. The burn is real. The burn is very, very real. If you haven't done this before, give it a go. You do your own set 10 for 10. See how you feel. Grab a journal, document it. I'm going to go for a second set. On this one, I didn't change anything. I kept the same weight. I went for the same tempo, the same prescription. And at this point in time, your muscle is just so fatigued. Anything you do is going to hurt. So the main thing is, whatever you opt to do, do it well. Look at that control. Focus your mind. Control the weight. Control the set. Get a little tempo going. Sometimes you do that sometimes just to coach yourself through it. Eke yourself through it. Squeeze your way through it. Something. Make it work. There's not much for me to say right now. As y'all can see, the work is the work. And if you ever use this machine, if you ever worked on it, you know how intense this pain can be. So I'm not going to sit here and talk it up. If you don't believe me, you do it. We in our home stretch. We going for it.
Come on. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4.
There you go. That is the work, y'all. After this, do some stretching. Call it a day. I got a little message for you. Get that journal.
Gotta get it done.
Yes, sir. Every muscle group's important. That's the work, y'all. So stay tuned. Subscribe. Follow along. More training to come. Let's get this work. Don't talk about it, be about it. You're going to make excuses, or you can make results, but you can't do both. Ha, little cripple. It's a beautiful day. Have a good one, y'all.